All right, let's do this.
Okay, so welcome back for another episode. Today is book 23.
Yeah, excited for this one. It's Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert M. I don't know if it's Persig or Pirsig. I don't know how to pronounce his
Yeah,
last
your
name, but
guess is as
yeah,
good as mine. So
Let's go with Persig. Have you ever read this one or heard of this one before?
I heard a lot about it. A lot of people reference it though, from you to other blogs I read online. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things in there. I think it's nuggets that people take away from it. As far as the book, I haven't read it. It's in my anti-library, but it's a huge library.
Fair enough. I don't know that I would actually recommend this book, to be fair. My first sentence of this book was ... interesting ? Like I don't even know. I don't know totally what to make of this book, honestly. But at a high level, this book is about this guy. It's basically Robert Persig. I don't know if it's actually him or if he's writing about himself, but it's basically him and his son go on a motorcycle tour of the country together. This is his story about him as they go from town to town and repairing a motorcycle and talking to his son. Then he has flashbacks to his earlier life and he goes through all this philosophical conversation in his own mind about what is quality and his time as a professor. And it's a weird book, I'm not gonna lie. So it was interesting, and I guess I'm kind of glad that I read it, just because it is like one of those American classic literature books. At least that's what we're told it is. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. So long story short, though, what it did make me think about when I was going through this book was my reflection title was Fall in Love with the Little Things. And it reminded me, the whole Zen component of this journey that he takes on the motorcycle is he seems like he's always just, in his element when he's in his own mind, and he's just in a flow state basically of working on this motorcycle. He like looks at all the little things and he tries to find ways to tweak stuff, do his own maintenance, and like taking care of the motorcycle on the trip was like it was kind of like a spiritual thing for him, as he was going through this stuff. And you could tell how much he was reflecting and thinking and using his mind and just letting himself be free in those moments and using his creativity and exploring other options and understanding where all these components come from and how can he be creative and how can he solve problems. And it reminded me a lot of, I mean, that's what basically Zen is. Zen is defined as a state of calm attentiveness in which one's actions are guided by intuition rather than conscious effort. It's when you're doing those things that your elephant only your elephant can do, and you're just on autopilot. It reminds me of like flow state, right? Of like the modern day, Zen would be flow state when you're just in the zone and you're doing your thing and everything just feels like it's in harmony and in balance, and that's kind of how he would always talk about with his motorcycle. And for me, it reminds me about tennis. There's not very many times in my life where I feel like I get into that flow state, that true flow state. Writing and tennis are probably the only two things that I can really think of off the top of my head where everything just kind of disappears, and I try to get my head out of the equation and just let myself do what I like to do and enjoy, and let my body do what it feels in harmony and balance and movement and effort and all of your hard work and all the knowledge you built up just coming out of you and letting it be. And I find that peace of mind myself on the tennis court. And I find it with the little things in the tennis court. Like, after hitting like a 15 to 20 shot rally and you're just exhausted and you're breathing really hard and you're going back to the service line to do your next serve, your sweat's just pouring out of you. And it's little things like that where I'm like, man, this is fun. This is what I live for. This is cool. Even if I lost the point, it sucks. But at the same time, it just feels good. It's just fun. So this book reminded me to think a little bit deeper about the Zen moments in my own life and the little things, embrace those moments and to really enjoy it, just have fun and enjoy the little things. So yeah, that was the reflection from Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. I'd love to get your thoughts on it. And then the question for you would be, in what activities do you find your own calm and do you find your own flow state? Curious to learn more.
Yes, for me in this topic, when you talk about the Zen and all that, in the flow state, it's reminds me of, people say, I'm in the zone, right? Yeah. When you're in the zone, you just like, you don't notice anything else other than whatever that you're doing. And to me, I've kind of like thought of the flow state as people trying to find a certain conditions to say, hey, I need to be like this, I need to be like that, and you to find that flow state. And to me, what I've, in my opinion, I think the flow state is the opposite of it. You can't force a flow
No, yeah,
state.
right.
To me, a flow
Right.
state is when your mind is free. When your
Yeah,
mind is free from things you told it to do, and you let your mind do what it naturally was designed to do, whatever that is. Because, like I said before, a writer must write, a painter must paint, right? Because you're born for that affinity. For you, for example, you're playing tennis, right? To you, that's natural. So if you just let your mind be free, and it's going to do that. And essentially, when you do that, you can be in the zone. But if you force it and you tell it, hey, you have to do this and have to do that, then your mind is going to be one of those things where it's so rigid that it's just bombarding you with like, hey, it shouldn't work, or this and that. It's just, you just go berserk on different things and stimuli that would basically, you become worried. But
yeah,
but for me, the only way for anyone, and we talked about this before in the previous episode, is how do you have creativity, right? And to me, I say you have to be creative, you have to be free. Be
yeah.
free from, don't tell your mind what to
Structure
do.
from process,
Right.
from yourself,
Right.
like
Yeah,
get free from your writer.
right.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, your conscious mind is getting in the way of your natural, the system one, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Your elephant.
the
Yeah.
primitive brain, right? That is the natural brain. That is where these creativity in the zone come from. If you interject, you're interrupting its flow. So if you tell it, hey, I want a flow state, you will never get a flow state.
Right.
And I've worked with people who wanted to be flow state, and they were looking for ways, looking for methodologies and tricks and tips and whatever to get into
That's
the
the
flow
trick.
state.
Is
Never got there.
the funny thing is that is the trick, is to have no tricks. Like, just get out of your own way.
Yeah.
It goes back to the inner game of tennis a couple weeks back. Where it's like, get yourself out of the way of yourself. Just have fun, enjoy yourself, immerse yourself in the moment. Like, I notice whenever I'm writing, whenever I try to start with a theme and work my way through it, it kind of frustrates me a little bit, where I'm like, I'm trying to like manufacture my thoughts to funnel it to that, it's kind of distracting. But when I just start writing and let it all flow out and go, like,
Yes.
the theme comes out eventually and I can pick it out after I'm done. But at the end of the day, like, I didn't get to a theme because I started with the theme. I got to a theme because I just started writing and and then it's like you almost black out, and then all of a sudden you're done writing 30, 40 minutes later or something like that. And you're like, oh, that was really good. I don't even remember how I got to this point in time, but I like it. And yeah, I mean, it's just, you're right. There is no process to Zen.
Process is to remove everything.
Right.
remove whatever you have in your head and let it be.
Right.
Then you will have the Zen. You will have the flow state.
I just finished this book that I just wrote the reflection for this morning, called Moonwalking with Einstein. This book was all about the human memory and how you can better understand memory and how you can basically become like a memory champion. It was written by a world memory champion kind of person. It was really, really interesting, and I had a ton of fun with it. However, the whole concept of freeing your mind from everything, we create memories through our creativity and our imagination. That's how we create those associations, and that's how we remember more. Mm-hmm. But to free your mind, I almost wonder if that's why drugs were always used by people throughout all of time. It's an artificial way to get you out of your own head. Right. Yeah, just stop thinking. And then when you get into these LSDs and mushrooms and psychedelics that literally free your mind, you stop remembering, you stop thinking, you stop, the consciousness stops that. Yes,
you're basically blocking
thought,
you put them in a bag, or you put it into a dark room and say, hey, you stay there until I'm done with this. And then you let your subconscious, be doing whatever it needs to do. And then you have that experience. Right. And people say, wow, this is a trip.
Yeah, that's why they call it a trip, because it's like a creativity trip, right? You're able to just unlock the creativity in your mind. Sadly, you don't need drugs for that stuff. You can do it with other methodologies, and that's why I think things like
drugs
Zen
is shortcut.
Right,
the other ways it takes longer,
but it's more rewarding when you can control it on demand. So
you have to practice long enough for you to do that at will. Drug is one of those things where it basically interject into your, basically give you a shortcut of some sort to get you there immediately. So in regards to the questions, in what activities you find and you're calm, for me is most of my activity now gives me that. So because I'm kind of semi-retired. I do what I want to do. And so that gives me that. But one of the activity I get every day is taking a shower. A shower gives me that calmness.
Interesting.
Because most people, when they shower, they have a lot of ideas.
Right.
Where's that come from? It comes from you are not thinking about anything. You just shower and you feel the water and whatever, and your mind is free and your subconscious to start thinking about whatever it needs to think.
Yeah.
When you take shower, you don't worry about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Just be.
Actually, that's a really good point. And with the showering thing, because I was going to say another time that I had a lot of like Zen, flow state, calm, whatever, would be just taking long walks. And it's like, it's doing those activities.
You take long walks, you don't have a conscious of walking. You just
right.
Like, hey, yes. I'm here and right. I take in whatever. So you're not like, oh, I'm walking and you're consciously thinking that you're walking because you're doing the activity, but at the same time, you let your mind be free and do whatever. So sometimes you don't even realize you're walking this far or that far or whatever, because you don't patient to, because you're not telling your brain to do anything. Say, I don't have to walk. I just here, whether I'm walking or not, it doesn't matter. Right. And so when you can get that, right, it's going to give you that flow state, closest to flow state you could, and give you more time to be creative. So people become creative when they're in the shower, when they go taking a call like a stroll, like not like walk because and exercise. You walk because you want to be out there.
It's a Socratic dialogue, right? It's like when you're doing something that it's not strenuous at all, but like it's just like that perfect balance of, you can do it and you can do it at a high level, but at the same time, you don't need to consciously be thinking about it. Like that's tennis for me, and that's
right.
Walking.
Right. Because I'm saying that people
it's probably coding for you.
They naturally have a tendency for something, whether that's tennis, chess, reading, whatever the case may be. Because when you're doing what you're supposed to do, what you naturally are inclined to do, then you get into the zone because you don't hear anything else besides what you're doing. You don't feel anything besides what you're doing. So you basically create that flow state. You in that zone. You're in the Zen.
Love with the little things, right? I mean, like when you find that moment and you find those activities that can bring you to that state, like cherish it, embrace it for what it is, and rejuvenate yourself during those times. You should just love every minute you can. And for this guy, it was maintaining a motorcycle. As soon as he was riding again, that's why the book was so messed up, because as soon as he was riding again, he would go back to this weird conversation in his head the whole time about his previous life and all these other philosophical conversations in his own head. And it's just like, whoa, this dude's crazy. But then he would get into his flow state and it would all calm down and he could just enjoy maintaining a motorcycle, And,
so the book was interesting.
I don't know that I would recommend this book. By all means, take it on if you want to take on any challenge. Like that's one of my core values is challenge yourself. This is certainly a challenging book to read. Enjoy it. Any other final thoughts?
That's my thought. Just be free. Try to free your mind.
Love it.
We are basically the prison. We are the guardian. We make ourselves to stay inside that cell.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you all tomorrow or Monday.
Monday. All right. Always. Thank you.
See ya.